How many times have you been losing your hours of your day, worried about things that are totally out of your control? Whether the opinion of others, an unanswered message, or the uncertainty about the future, it is easy to fall into the trap of spending mental energy with what we cannot change. Worse, at the end of the day, you feel exhausted, anxious, and without solving anything. Look familiar? What if I tell you that there is a millennial philosophy that can help you deal with all this more lightly and efficiently? Today, we will explore 7 lessons of Stoicism to master the art of not caring. Stoicism is not about being cold or indifferent, but about learning to focus on what really matters and letting go beyond your control. At the end of this video, you will have practical tools to gain more mental clarity, inner peace, and especially emotional freedom. Before we plunged into these lessons, I want to know, have you ever been through any situation where you felt overwhelmed by things you couldn't control? It can be at work, relationships, or even on social networks. Leave it in the comments. Your experience can inspire other people who are going through something similar. Stoicism is a practical philosophy that emerged in ancient Greece and was developed by thinkers such as Zeno de Citio, but gained prominence with figures such as Marco Aurelio, Seneca, and Epicteto. Unlike other philosophical currents that were lost in abstract theories, Stoicism has always had a foot on the ground. Your main goal? Help people live a full life, even in the face of adversities. The essence of Stoicism lies in the dichotomy of control, the idea that some things are under our power, our thoughts, actions, and reactions, while others are not, what others think, external events, past and future. Wisdom, according to the Stoics, is knowing how to differentiate between these two categories and act accordingly. You may be wondering, what a philosophy of over 2,000 years has to do with my life today? The answer is everything. We live in a hyper-connected world where we are constantly bombarded by information, expectations, and pressures. Social networks, for example, expose us to judgments and comparisons all the time. At work, we deal with tight deadlines, demanding bosses and economic uncertainties. And in relationships, we often get lost trying to please others or control situations that simply do not depend on us. This is where Stoicism becomes a powerful tool. It teaches us not to waste energy on what we cannot change, and instead focus on what is within our reach. Imagine what your life would be like if you could deal with criticism, unforeseen events, and frustrations more serenely and proactively. This is exactly what the lessons we will explore next will help you win. Lesson 1. The dichotomy of control. The first and most fundamental lesson of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control. Epicteto, one of the great Stoic masters, summed up this idea brilliantly. Some things are under our control, some not. It sounds simple, but how many times have you been trying to change something that was completely out of your hands? Think of a common situation. You are trading in traffic, late for an important meeting. Can you control traffic? No. But it can control how it reacts to this situation. Instead of getting angry and stressed, take a deep breath and use this time. To hear a podcast or reflect on your day is a choice that is under your control. Do the following. Take a paper and divide it into 2 columns. In the first, list 3 things that are out of control, such as climate, traffic, or the opinion of others. In the second column, write how you can react positively to each of them. This simple exercise will help you train your mind to focus on what really matters, your actions and attitudes. The second lesson of Stoicism is about the importance of living in the present. Marco Aurelio, in his writings, often reflected on the passing nature of time. He said, "Don't waste more time discussing what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, the past has gone, the future is uncertain, and the only moment we really have is now. How many times have you caught yourself brooding out something that happened in the past, or eager for something that can happen in the future? These thoughts not only consume our energy, but also prevent us from acting in the present. Imagine that you are at a work meeting, but your mind is focused on a mistake you made in the previous project or a presentation you will make next week. In the meantime, you lose important information and opportunities to contribute at the present time. Practice mindfulness for 5 minutes. Sit in a quiet place, close your eyes, and focus only on your breath. When your mind ravages into the past or future, it kindly brings it back to the present. This simple exercise will help you train your mind to live more in the now. Lesson 3. Practice the negative view. The third lesson of Stoicism is the negative visualization, a technique that may seem counter-intimate at first glance, but is incredibly powerful. The idea is simple. Imagine the worst possible scenario in a situation. This is not to create fear, but to prepare us emotionally and at the same time make us value what we have. For example, imagine that you have lost your job. What would you do? How would you react? By visualizing this scenario, you realize that even at worst, there are still ways to go. In addition, this practice helps us value what we have in the present. When you reflect on the possibility of losing something, your work, your health, a relationship, it gives more value to these things while you still have them. Choose an area of your life that worries you, work, health, relationships, and view the worst possible scenario. Then ask yourself, how would I react? What would I do next? Write down your reflections. This exercise not only reduces the fear of the unknown, but also helps you create a mental action plan to deal with adversity. Lesson 4. Accept what cannot change. The fourth lesson of Stoicism is about acceptance. But beware, accepting does not mean resigning or giving up. On the contrary, it is a form of wisdom that allows us to direct our energy to what really matters. Stoics believed that we suffer more for resisting what we cannot change than by their own circumstances. Think of a situation like a chronic disease or a breakup. These are realities that we often cannot change. However, we can choose how to react to them. Accepting is not about liking the situation, but about failing to fight the inevitable. This frees us to focus on actions that are within our reach, such as taking care of our health or rebuilding our life after a loss. Identify a situation in your life that you have resisted to accept. It can be something big, such as a forced or small change, like a delay in traffic. Then practice gratitude for something related to this situation. For example, if you are dealing with a disease, thank you for the support of the people around you or for access to treatments. This exercise helps to change perspective and find peace even in the midst of difficulties. Lesson 5. Master your emotions. The fifth lesson of Stoicism is about mastering your emotions. Stoics believed that emotions, however intense, are fleeting. The problem is not feeling them, but allowing them to control our actions and decisions. Imagine a heated discussion at work or a stressful traffic situation. At these times, it is easy to leave anger or frustration to take care, but Stoicism teaches us to pause and reflect before reacting. Seneca, one of the big names in Stoicism, said, "Anger is a passing madness." When you realize that a strong emotion is emerging, take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this under my control? If the answer is no, remember that your reaction is what really matters. You can choose to act calmly and wisdom, even when everything around you seems chaotic. The next time you feel an intense emotion, anger, anxiety, frustration, it paused for a few seconds. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what is under my control here? Then choose an action aligned with your values instead of reacting impulsively. This simple habit can transform the way you deal with emotional challenges. Lesson 6. Be minimalist. With your concerns. The sixth lesson of Stoicism is about being minimalist with its concerns. In a world full of information, expectations, and pressures, it is easy to feel overwhelmed with things that, deep down, have no impact on our lives. How many times have you wasted time worrying about what others think of you, or with situations that have never happened? Stoics remind us that we should not spend energy on what doesn't matter. Imagine that you are concerned about the number of likes in a post on social networks. In the big scheme of things, does this really make a difference? Or think of a banal discussion with a co-worker. Is it worth carrying this emotional weight? The art of not caring is precisely to filter what deserves your attention and what can be set aside. Make a list of all things that have recently worried you. Then scratch everything that has no real impact on your life or that is out of your control. What is left is the concerns that deserve their energy. Focus on them and leave the rest behind. Lesson 7. Cultivate virtue and wisdom. The seventh and last lesson of Stoicism is about cultivating virtue and wisdom. For Stoics, true freedom is not in material goods or social status, but in living according to our deepest values. Virtues such as courage, justice, self-control, and wisdom are the foundation of a full and significant life. Imagine a situation where you have the opportunity to be honest, even when this is difficult, or to help someone without expecting anything in return. These choices, though small, reflect virtue and build a strong character. Marco Aurelio, in his writings, emphasized the importance of acting with integrity, regardless of circumstances. After all, the only thing we really control is the kind of person we choose to be. Reflect on an action you can take today to live according to your values. It can be simple, such as praising a co-worker, or something more challenging, such as taking responsibility for an error. Write down this action and commit to performing it. This small step will help you cultivate a life more aligned with virtue and wisdom. Throughout this video, we have exploited 7 lessons of Stoicism that can turn the way you deal with the challenges of life. We begin with the dichotomy of control, learning to differentiate what is and what is not under our power. Then we saw the importance of focusing on the present and practicing negative visualization to prepare us emotionally. We have learned to accept what cannot be changed, to dominate our emotions, and to be minimalist with our concerns. Finally, we find out how to cultivate virtue and wisdom to live a life aligned with our deepest values. These lessons are not just philosophical concepts. These are practical tools that can help you gain emotional freedom. By mastering the art of not caring about what is out of your control, you gain more mental clarity, inner peace, and ability to act effectively in your personal and professional life. Now it's your turn to put these lessons into practice. Choose one of the 7 lessons that resonated with you most and commit to applying it in your daily life. It can be simple, such as practicing negative visualization before an important meeting, or something deeper, how to reflect on your virtues and values. And don't forget, share in the comments which lesson you chose and how your experience was. Your story can inspire others to begin this journey of self-knowledge and growth. If this video made sense to you, like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Together, we can build a lighter, more focused and significant life. Thanks for watching. Remember, the art of not caring is not about indifference, but about choosing where to put your energy. Until the next video.